Hi everyone, my name's Juliet and today I'm going to show you a real example of using collections in Scrivener. If you don't know what collections are, I have a video explaining them right here. I'm currently recording some of my short stories and updating the ebook files as I go. Some of these ebooks were originally created from Word files rather than Scrivener files, so that shows you how old they are. But I do have them collected together in an omnibus in Scrivener, and that's the file that you can see here. I'm going to use that single omnibus Scrivener file to make a new collection, updated, and update each of the 6 stories individually by using collections. That means I'll only have one version of the file. I don't have to update multiple files. And this collection isn't in paperback at the moment, so I don't have to worry about that either. This is still a work in progress. I haven't completed updating all the files yet, but let me explain the process. Each story has its own collection, and when I finish, I'm going to make a collection for the whole of the omnibus as well. So as you can see, I've dragged over the files for each story. I've also created a separate copyright file for each of the stories, and those I've put into a folder. Now I don't put this into the front matter, I just put it at the front of my document. The reason I put them in a folder is so that I know which one is which, so I can put a date on, but I've only taken the file within that folder into the collection. I've also added the back matter, which will pretty much be the same for all of the books, I think, at the moment. I'll also have to have a separate cover for each of these files for when I produce them. At the moment I've only got the one in this Scrivener file. Once all the updates are done and I want to actually compile them into ebooks, it's going to be a little bit more fiddly, but this is the process. In Compile, the first thing I have to do is select the collection. Then I go to Cover and select the cover I want. And finally, I need to go into metadata to make sure that's correct for the book I'm producing. I may also do this in the future for some other collections I've got of novel-length ebooks rather than short stories. I hope giving a real example of this feature helps. Here's that other video on collections if you want to go back and look at that. Thank you for watching, and if you've subscribed, I'll see you next time.